Hey everybody, I wanted to do a recap on some of the trades I've taken in the last couple days, both afternoon plays on BTX and TKAT, low floats stocks that were very volatile in the afternoon. My lesson today is going to be mostly on lining up long time or longer time frames with the intraday play. And when you get both of those lining up at the same time, they really, add fuel to the fire, if you will. And being low float, and both of these had a fairly high short interest on them over the last couple days, it really added to the movement in the afternoon, which is the big lesson that I've got on this. And for me, the big lesson over the last little while in this market, anyways, has been to really ignore what I'm weak at. And I've noticed that my morning trades have been shit to say the least. And I've been basically starting in the red and then digging myself out of a red hole, or at least cutting my losses in half. So, the last couple days I came to the market late on purpose to basically eliminate myself from the urge to trade in the morning, and then look at the patterns and see if anything is lining up with a daily pattern. And both of these lined up with daily patterns fairly nicely. And I'll go over that with you right now. So I'll switch over to the charts. So I'm going to start off with BTX. And BTX is a runner we had yesterday. And the day before, it actually had spiked up into this 30, where are we here? I'm trying to find my bearings on this one. Let me go to a longer time frame and take a look here. Split this. All right. Picking up the wrong chart. Let me switch over here. So yeah, BTX is over. Let's see here if I can switch this around. Oops. Back out. So what I was looking at on the daily was that it was making this fairly nice uptrend here with increase in volume every day it moved. And on the 21st, we had the first pullback after it kind of tested these areas up here at 11. And when it pulled back into the trade line and started holding, I came into the market thinking on the 21st, I think it was when I looked at this, or 22nd, when it pushed back up to 11 to retest these highs from the previous day right in the morning and pulled back. I missed this action, and I'm kind of glad I did, because I probably would have got caught chasing in here and then got caught in a flush. And that's why I'm trying to eliminate the morning movements, because I've been finding that they're just fake outs, or weak movement. Now the last day here, today was actually the morning was actually a pretty nice move on a couple of trades like TKAT, OCGN ground all day. But I missed all that today because I did it on purpose. But when we go back yesterday to the 22nd, this is the kind of action we saw. So it had pushed up to 11 to retest the prior days, or the 2 days high. And to me, that was very bullish action, considering we were, pulling back. And I thought that maybe it was going to roll over, but it didn't. It actually retested this area. So what I was looking for was just to see what it would do in the afternoon. I mean, we're only going to go one of two directions. There's not much that goes sideways for very long. So it's either going to go down or it's going to go up. And at this point, it had already retested these levels. And I thought that it could squeeze um, all the way up to, you know, I think it's 1270 and potentially 1426 was kind of my ultimate area I wanted to sell into. And so in the afternoon, what I was watching for was just to see the action as this was kind of grinding back over VWAP. And at this point, it looked like it was going to actually squeeze, but it was too early in the day for me to take a trade on it. So I just left it, see what would happen. And I'm glad that I did because I had already drawn this trend line basically from here and here. And what I noticed was that it tested this again and it instantly bounced back off of it to get back into VWAP. And when I saw that little action there, I was like, okay, this might be holding up. And what we might see, and I like this terminology Tim Bowen uses, and I've listened to him talk about it a few times over the last 3 years, VWAP reclaim. And when it came back down into VWAP, I had this downtrend line, new downtrend line drawn, and my action was just to see if we're either going to break down or roll over again and maybe come into this end tighter, or it would take off. And in the end, it started to take off, and I could see on the tape as it started to get back into VWAP and over this area, we started to curl up and the volume started coming in, the tape started speeding up. So I ended up taking my shares there. And my trade screen for that one, let me just show you. Oh, that's TKAT. All right, so here is BTX in the afternoon. Now, the other chart I showed you, it had a downtrend line in here for kind of that ABCD pattern, but it was actually in a nice up channel uh, trending up channel. And once it reclaimed view up and held that late in the afternoon. And the key with this is the closer it is to the close, you know, the more reason that this has to curl up, meaning if it's holding VWAP and it's starting to hold and it's getting more attention now after lunch has come out and it's getting closer to the bell, all the traders that were in from this zone short, possibly this double top short, and anything in here maybe in VWAP, once they start getting into this area here a late day and it's not breaking down, as a matter of fact, it's actually making higher lows, as a short seller, I would be getting uncomfortable with it at that point. And I think that's what happened is, you know, we got some covers coming in and then multiple buyers starting to step in at the same time. And I took my trade as soon as I saw the tape starting to speed up. And the big thing was right when it started to break this, you know, downtrend line that I had drawn on the chart from here. And that's exactly where I entered. And with these plays, you'll know within minutes if this, or within a minute sometimes, if this is going to be something that's going to go or not. And I'll show you on my example with TKAT today of that. The big thing is don't be afraid to jump out of the trade if you think that it's stalling and it's not taking off at the either the time you're trying to get in, or um, or just you're not seeing the action that you think it should have with buying coming in, and just get out of it and then wait until it does break and have that volume come in at the bottom. So that was the trade I took on BTX. And like I said, the lesson I'm kind of learning here is my intraday trades need to line up with some sort of longer time frame pattern. So a daily break, so a higher day break from the other day. Um, an uptrend that it's in on this on the move it's got, over the last few days or week or whatever, and find a play that's going to line up with it, a reason for this to move. So that was BTX. Now I'll take you over to my trade on TKAT. So TKAT was today, April 23rd. And so here's the trade on TKAT. I've been watching this for several days and it just wasn't breaking down. So that had interest for me. Anything that's spiked, a few days ago, a couple days ago, and isn't breaking down is definitely something that you should have on watch for a daily break and a squeeze. Because that's ultimately what we're doing is we want to try to get things as they're moving up and ride the momentum. So this 30 zone here, now when I take you out to the full chart here, where is it? Here it is. Okay, so I'll take you out to, okay. So this is the daily that we're looking at here. And you'll notice that drop down to the 30 zone, bounced, came back down, we broke that 30, so we broke that low. We then bounced back into this zone as our now resistance. So support, that was support, now becomes resistance. We break below that, we keep trending down, we bounce up a little bit, we basically start topping out in the area where it was acting as support again. So this is now resistance. We break through that resistance and we are now through that retesting this 30 zone. Okay, so we've got support, support, resistance now, resistance. And so we've got this channel between 2350 and let's call it 30 basically. And so once we snapped through this area here at 2350, we test 30. And at this point, we're looking at it, see where it pulls back to. Well, it pulls back right back into this 2350 zone. Holds, and we spike up in the morning. So we gapped up, we ran up to 30 again. And this is today. So at this point, again, I missed all this action in the morning. But when I started pulling up my charts and flipping through what had, any top gainers that were on the list today, TKAT came up, and I remembered this from a couple days ago as something that was running. So it was on my watch list, my mental watch list. I don't actually have watch lists written down, which I probably should, but I have a mental one that I kind of keep track and tabs on. So once it got up into this 30 zone, retested this morning, failed to break out, pulls back. What did we do? We sucked a whole bunch of shorts in. And we've now topped out a bunch of times in this zone. So we've got shorts trapped. We've probably got shorts in even from here that we're then covering, reshort, whatever they were doing. It's had a high short interest in it. So I'm imagining that this was a lot of short selling going on. And once it started forming this higher low wedge, there were two lines I had drawn. First, I had this one. Let me see if I can zoom in on this for you. First, I took this one here, and I was watching to see what it did. Now, the break of this downtrend, as you can see, is below VWAP. Okay. I was fully expecting it to potentially top out at VWAP or in this double top zone here where it's been wicking up into most of the day and into the afternoon. Now, if you look at my trade on this one, should I keep turning this damn thing on? Sorry about that, guys. Let me turn this off. Don't need another screen share going on. All right, is it this one? Yeah, so here's T. So I took a trade down here. Now, when I talk about stalling action and it not going when you think it should go, there's a couple of reasons here that it was probably stalling in this area. time of day, there was still some time left in the day. It was getting close to that time where I wanted things to start squeezing if they were going to, but there still was a bit of time. So it topped out right at this high here and also into VWAP, and it starts pulling back. And I just got out of my shares. It wasn't making a move, wasn't ready. I didn't need to be in it anymore. This is my first downtrend break into the time of day that I want to see it make a move. Once it made this top, I drew another downtrend line, and this one I call my confirmation line. So I've got the first move. We start to get some volatility coming in, a little tiny bit of volume there. Fakes out. Now it holds outside of this downtrend. So we've got another higher low. And what does it do? A few minutes later, I start see volume coming in, and I start seeing the tape start speeding up in this area, and I just grab shares again. Still using my same risk at 27, but this time I just jumped in to see if this was the move. And I don't have a problem doing that, because there's no sense in being in something if it's not doing what you want it to do or what you're expecting it to do. And in this case, it wasn't doing anything here. So I got out, waited for it to hold its ground again, and then break. And this time we're starting to break VWAP. So more volume came in. I mean, you could see it coming in, and this was actually a very widespread stock. At times it was like 60 cents a share spreads. Um, so anyways, I was in it at this point, and then it starts moving, and I start peeling profits off. And at this point, I'm in it for a few shares left, basically trying to build my process over profit. Um, I want to be able to try take as much of the move as I can. Yeah, but I don't have a lot of shares. I mean, I'm still trading with a small account as well, and I'm building process over profit until I can prove to myself that I want to take bigger risk every single time, or as I kind of incrementally get bigger and bigger on my account size, I'll start adding size to it. But right now I'm only risking $150 a trade. So, I don't have a problem with that. I'm still learning, and I'm working full time, and it's hard to balance everything. So, um, this made a really nice move. It broke through that 30 level, which I was showing you guys on the daily with it here. That was right here, this red line. That was our support, resistance, and then it breaks through that. So now we've got a nice clear breakthrough, higher volume through that on the 1 hour chart. That was nice high volume going through. It was good volume coming in, pushing through 30, and it just took off from there. And so I was looking to peel profits off along the way, and 35 was the area I was looking for. And I didn't take all of it off at that time. Um, where was it here? I got some of it up into 35, but I only had a few shares left, and it was basically just peeling profits off into the zones that I thought was going to be acting as the resistance. And I set my stop below this trend. I use a 9 moving average, 9 EMA as my trend. Trend is your friend. Once it's in trend, stick with it. This bull flag here, it's a 3-minute chart. So this bull flag took a little longer than I expected to catch up. But the reason I thought it could take a little longer to form was that at the time when we were looking at candles here, our VWAP was down in this range here. So it was still a fair distance away for our support, and where we're going to look for this bull flag to kind of curl up and out of. So I waited for it. It tested this. To me, it bounced off of there very well. At that point, I was like, all right, we've got some support now. Let's see what this next candle does. And all of a sudden, the tape started speeding up. So I just grabbed some shares there, peeled a little bit off into the next push, which was the high of day break at that point, and just kept peeling profits off. And then my stop on the last shares I had was underneath the trade line when trend started changing. So in a nutshell, that was my trade on that one. But again, I wanted to kind of show you how a longer time frame setup can work very well when you have an intraday setup as well, lining up all together. Um, this chart to me, looked like you didn't notice it as much. Let me just go out to a single chart for a second. When I go up to a daily, okay, there's a lot of lines on here, but let me just take some of these off of here. Okay. So on the daily, there really wasn't much showing here. It didn't look like anything. It just looked like curling action and moving up. But again, move out to different time zones. All right, 4 hour. Now I'm starting to see bottoming action, topping action, bottoming action. All right, let's go to a 1 hour chart. Now we're starting to see levels a little more clear. Where we're pulling back, we're holding. Pretty significant level this all of a sudden becomes. And when I looked at this, I also looked at it like a possible cup and handle play. Okay, so you didn't see that on the daily. You saw it a little bit on the 4 hour, but when you looked at the 1 hour, it started to look a little bit more like a pattern that could be getting ready to break out. And a cup and handle pattern kind of forms that. You've got the cup back up to the highs, we pull back, we're now in that support zone. Now we're using this level here to create our handle. And it may not have formed and worked out today, but because this also lined up with a good morning push into that zone again, it held 50% of that move. It worked up and down on VWAP, and it basically trapped shorts in there and squeezed it in the afternoon. And that's exactly what we want to be looking for. So try to look for these next time. They don't always work out, that's for sure, but it's definitely something to keep your eye out for and see if it's something that would fit, your trading style. Because at the end of the day, you can catch some really nice moves in the afternoon once you've got a bunch of shorts trapped in there and you've got enough people watching the pattern that is a self-fulfilling prophecy at the end of the day, because the pattern is there. It's a longer time frame setup, and it's just easier for a lot of traders to see. And if a lot of traders can see that same pattern, it's most likely going to bring in that attention that it needs for the buyers to come in. So hopefully that helps you, and I'm here to answer any questions if you have any on Twitter or Facebook. I'll post this video on my Twitter and my not Facebook, my YouTube channel. And if you have any questions, just let me know. Thank you. Bye for now.